Welcome back, everyone, to another Tutor Ramble video. My name is Richard.
I'm Austin, and this is a big one, folks, because this is our first new style. We are doing a spoiler-free review. Should you read In the Shadow of Lightning? We're going to break all these videos down in one. We'll tell you a spoiler-free summary. We'll say our pros. We'll say our cons. We'll give you our exact Rambler rating, and then we'll say if you should read it or not. And now, In the Shadow of Lightning is special because Richard and I interviewed the author Brian McClellan on the podcast, one of those episodes. That was a lot of fun.
Hey, Brian. And also, check out the video if you want to below.
And Brian, don't watch the con section. Don't watch our rating. We love you, okay? But we're going to be 100% honest. You will see full honesty here, right, Richard?
Well, yes, we'll see full honesty.
Okay, good. Full honesty. And going into the spoiler-free summary, mind if I jump into that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this book was written by Brian McClellan. He's famous for the Powder Mage trilogy that he's written, and this is his new series called The Glass Immortals. This is book 1, and book 2 is not out yet, but it will be out in maybe a year. I don't know the exact timing.
You'll put a date or a year out up on
Make editing harder for me. You know what? Just
yeah, exactly.
Right there.
Right
I'll
there.
do something cool with it too. I'll do a spin. Boom. And it goes that way. I don't know if I could do that. We'll see. So
give yourself a little challenge.
Yes. So this book is all about this main character, Demir Grappo, who goes through this trauma early on in the book. But I'll jump back into Demir in a second. Basically, magic's running out, and magic in this world is glass. Glass infuses in different ways to where you could be stronger, wittier, you can get high. Glass enhances your abilities as a human. It's running out, and only these high guild families know. And in this case, we're following a main character, Demir, who's outcast from the city, and he comes back upon hearing upon his mother's death. And so he has to solve his mother's death while simultaneously fixing that magic is running out. And you get 4 main protagonists here with Demir, and you also have a Silas Seer, who forges God Glass. You have a Breacher, who's a soldier, and you have a detective story. So you get a lot of different perspectives here, and that I think that's enough for summarizing what this is about. If
Without
you
getting into too much spoilers.
Want to add any flavor onto that for the viewers? What else you got?
Well, if you've read Powder Mage trilogy, you'll actually see some similarities of the type of POVs you'll be seeing. So, in Powder Mage, you got the army general, you have the more action-heavy soldier, then you have also the detective story. Well, in the Shadow of Lightning, you have the more political thriller overhead POV. You have the more fighting, action-heavy soldier POV, and you also have the detective. With the Glass Immortals, you have the 4th POV, which is more magic and world-building type of investigation stuff.
Yes.
So, but you do see similar styles from both series.
Sweet. And this being spoiler-free, we're going to get very light into general stuff. We won't give you plot details beyond what happens in the first couple chapters. But that being said, let's get into the pros of this, and then we'll do cons and rating and so forth. So pros of the book, I'll toss one at you and see what you think. I think one really great thing about this book in particular is the pacing.
Completely agree.
Paced very well.
I think it's the best aspect of the book is that it was really easy to tear through it.
Breeze. You will read this thing and just go, wow, that it doesn't stay too long in a part, and it doesn't overstay its welcome or understay its welcome.
Yeah, a lot of books will suffer from like a lot of fluff, and yes, in fantasy you do have to have some points and moments to explore the world or explore characters, but sometimes that can get a little... It overstays its welcome, like you said. This one...
I mean, you're saying what I'm saying because, you know, you look up to me.
Yeah, let's not go that far.
Okay.
I look across, sometimes down. Never up.
I'm surprised you didn't buy a higher chair. Just to, you know, do what all the hosts do on late night. How they always let the person sit first. They have an intimidating desk.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that would be a great idea for our set.
No, the best I've given you... I have given you the power of editing, so that you could just basically mess with me. You could zoom in on my face and just put a weird filter on it, make me look stupid.
You're asking
I make
for
a
it.
good point.
You just asked for it.
Cut.
You totally asked for it there. You know what I'm doing to your face. This edit. Okay.
that was just for editing, Austin.
But okay, well paced. We agree on the well pacing. It's really well paced. And I'll let you jump back. What do you think another really positive thing about this book is?
I think the positive thing is the action. The action is very exciting. I didn't even follow I don't even know the script, and I'm getting it.
No, I just had notes of what I thought was great about it, and you don't know what I had. That's the next thing it was number 3 for me was great action.
Yeah, and also different types of action. So you have your higher grand magic level action, then you have your more street scrappy level action, and all of this culminates in a lot of fun. He does great stuff with movements and action, so he does great action scenes. I noticed the same thing with the Powder Mage trilogy as well. Something that can get a little difficult when you add guns to fantasy is you start realizing, oh, well, they're bullets. Bullets kill people. Like, a significant problem of adding a gun to fantasy is, bam, you shot, they're dead. With a sword fight, you could describe a big old fight,
well, that's
and people
important
don't necessarily have to die. With
this is Flintlock fantasy.
It is.
We didn't mention that yet. So if you don't know, this is Flintlock, where it's Napoleonic era. Right?
Exactly.
That's what you're getting into.
But it's handled really well where people do die. But then if they don't die to gunshots, like why? It makes sense with how he set up the magic system.
When we interviewed Brian, something he said he's super proud of in his writing. By the way, here's the interview. You can go click on it there. But when we interviewed him, we talked about his action sequences, and he said that's the thing he's most proud of in his writing. And he has right to be so. He's very good at his action sequences. And actually, with Shadow of Lightning, quick plug, we read this book with our patrons, and in our monthly book club, if you want to join that, check out Patreon in the description below, and we discuss books with people monthly. That's cool. But besides that, getting into another pro of this book, I have one for you. I do like the 4 main characters' different perspectives, that it shows us different unique aspects of the world. So you have your soldier, your detective, your world building character, and your main protagonist who's kind of in the guilds. So you get all the angles of the world, which makes it an interesting, you might not love one character, but you see a different portion of the world.
Yeah, I definitely like it, but it kind of leads into my more... The con is
but hold the con. Hold the con. It's only pros. Only pros.
Only
so
pros.
Far. Yeah.
Okay. I'll hold my tongue.
I'll stifle you. Because you got to give more pros, more praise to Brian. He was nice enough to come on the podcast, and we're gonna trash him very soon. So
okay.
What else? What else would you say for a pro?
Pro is definitely the magic. The magic system in this book is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool visually to think of, and adds a lot of options down the line. That there's a lot of combinations, and it's very Sanderson-esque of, it is technical, it's a very technical magic system, a very hard magic system, with enough fantastical possibilities. Like, you can think of a lot of unique scenarios for this.
Sanderson actually said to Brian this was his most Sanderson book yet, and Brian took that as a great compliment. On the interview, he actually said, "I was tickled pink." That's what he said. I quote him. He said that. And last pro I'll throw out here, unless you have one to bounce back.
God.
Baby Montego. Montego. It's actually Montego. You were wrong. You almost tricked me with your lies. You do so well. You always get me to stump up.
I have such confidence.
It's
whether I know I'm right or wrong, I have the confidence to tell you.
It's freaking Baby Montego. Montego. It's Baby Montego. Montego. Shut up. Baby Montego is a side character in this, and he's phenomenal. Brian actually made a novella just on the character's story, because all the fans loved Baby.
I think I'm actually good. I do have to buy that one.
He's a great side character. You'll see when you read the book, if you end up reading the book, which, let's get into the cons. Unless you have any more pros, Rich.
Baby Montague is a great
Montego. Pro. It's Montego. Shut up. All right, cons time?
Yeah.
What would you say? What would you say is the first con?
I would say the largest con maybe is the detective POV for me.
Okay.
It's just not as interesting as the others, and part of that is the detective's POV ending did not satisfy me like I thought it would.
Okay.
So that was kind of the more unfortunate conclusion for me.
I see that, and I might have a larger critique, and this is for if you're looking to go read this book, trying to be helpful and see if you would like this kind of story. So something that disappointed me as a reader And again, Brian, click off the video, please, if you're watching this. We know he doesn't watch us, but even if you are kind enough to watch, I'm so sorry. But with all the different characters' points of view, I'd say especially with Demir, no spoilers, of course. This is very light. He's kind, intelligent, funny, rich, charming. He has all these great qualities. You have all the main characters, the 4 main characters, are very good people, to the point where it's not like they don't have flaws. Each of them has a flaw, more of an external flaw. One of them, I won't say who, kind of just drops off and doesn't come back. I don't want to reveal which character that was in the spoiler-free section, but the flaw doesn't come up when it should in the plot. But it's not bad that you have characters you can root for. Like, you have Aragon. Aragon's great, right?
Yeah.
The point here is when Brian does utilize the flaws and tries to make them like big stakes, big flaws, it doesn't come out at that because the characters are so competent and the characters are so good at what they do. I'm just never scared for them. So the flaws, if the flaws weren't there, it might have been even better because it's just a straight, James Bond-esque. You have the character that's just doing good things, but the flaws didn't hit as hard as he intended them to hit. And if you're a really character-driven reader out there, that might disappoint you. They're not bad characters. They are not bad, but would you agree with that general sentiment?
I would, because the characters, while being very fun, and I really enjoyed reading Demir and Demir just doing his thing.
Yeah.
It's a cathartic book because you just feel the highs of like, oh yeah, Demir.
Oh, you feel it.
Kick their butts.
You feel it, yeah.
But yeah, when there's certain moments in the book where Demir's character flaw should manifest and should really become a real obstacle to the plot and the story, it just doesn't hit.
I won't say the character, but you know who I'm talking about. The flaw doesn't come back in the story. Know which character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to
yes.
because I don't want to even hint at as if you go in to read the book, which we'll say if you should at the end of this video as well. But you get what I'm saying. And I think that extends as well into my next con of the book, which is something that you said as well. So we've talked about this off camera, so I know you agree with me on this. The romance doesn't hit as hard, mainly because the world building of the book. So the romance between characters doesn't work because the world building is so aromantic, if that makes sense. You said it more.
Yeah.
You said it smarter than me, which is a rare thing. So I'll let you take this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The world building is set up so that sex and relationships are very casual in nature, and there's not much weight put upon it on a societal level that has been set up in this world, so that when relationships do come out between characters, I just kind of think that they don't matter because none of the characters seem to treat these relationships as anything. So it really just kind of makes them very inconsequential and just, I don't really care. I don't care about the will they, won't they, or even do they make a good pair, because it's like, who cares? They don't care.
Yeah, you go.
Nobody in this world really seems to care about it. It's all just political marriages, and maybe if they're lucky, they actually like each other.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
But who knows for how long?
It doesn't seem to have the weight. Well said.
Exactly.
Well said. And that's a big part. If you're going into this book expecting romance, don't.
To be fair, it's a fantasy book.
Yeah, it's a fantasy book.
Who reads fantasy books for the romance?
I do.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
But this brings me to one last. Do you have any other con you want to mention before I finish with this one?
I'm checking my notes here.
Oh, yes.
I got notes too. Nah, that's bad.
The last con is something you touched on when you're talking about Detective. Is the ending of the book, not spoiling the ending, but was underwhelming because of possibly some Deus Ex Machina, and possibly because of how we portrayed the characters so far and our feelings toward their flaws and how that tumults to the end. So it's a great ride, well paced, but then the ending just, I was loving the book, and then just toward the end, still good, but just had it wasn't hook, line, and sinker, it was hook, line, and that's what I felt.
Well, actually, I liked a particular scene of a big climactic scene's ending.
Agreed.
On paper and on technical level makes so much sense.
Agreed. We talked about this.
Well
executed. So good.
Well executed scene and conclusion where it felt like, you're you're on the razor's edge and just bare. So really good.
Yep.
But to the other POVs, it kind of, because of how the characters are established, I'm just not seeing a lot of weight on their conclusions.
Yep. And then one of the last couple chapters, you know what I'm talking about, with the possible ex machina there. But
I didn't see it to the same extent, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was unsatisfied with it. I don't think it was a particular Deus Ex Machina.
It's esque. I'd say it's adjacent.
Sure.
Okay. Read the book and find out, because
we are dancing that spoiler.
Yeah,
I'm just imagining someone watching this has not read the book, has no idea what we're talking about, is going like, man, I don't understand any of these things they're talking about.
Hey, we're trying to make sure. We're making sure. And anything else you want to say in cons before we jump into our rating?
Now let's go right into the rating.
Okay. Rating for this book, if you want to see how our rating system works, check out in the description below. We have 5 categories we rate on and divide that to get our total. So we're just going to view our total, and on screen we'll have the 5 specific categories. Richard, what is your out of 10 score for In the Shadow of Lightning?
I gave it a 6.8 out of 10. A solid score.
This is not scripted, by the way. We've talked about this book in the past. We've rated this individually. I gave this exactly a 6.8.
Huh. That's weird, because you rate things differently than me, like, to the point of like you do the 0.0, like you go to the 100.
Look at here on the screen. You can see what our exact category breakdown is to get that total, but we agree on the dot.
Yeah.
Everything it seems like we're really vibing with this one. We really agree on this book. It's a 6.8.
For once, we're vibing.
The problem is when we don't vibe, we're off by 0.5 with each other, and it causes an hour-long podcast discussion on why your 0.5 off from my rating's wrong.
That's why this video is so short.
Now, to finish this off then, and let us know if you like this series, if you want more Should You Read books, and we'll do this with other ones we've read and do it just like this format. Or
let us know if you see a book on the shelf that you want a Should You Read video on.
And to conclude this, Richard, should you read In the Shadow of Lightning?
If you've read Brian McClellan's other books, you definitely should read, In the
Shadow of Lightning, you idiot.
I'm trying to say the series,
you
but
moron.
Fine. If you've read his other books,
okay,
you should read it. If you like Sanderson, definitely should check it out. I really liked Flintlock Fantasy, and it's handled well here. So if you're okay with more exploration of the world and the characters being like super gray and riveting and interesting, if you're okay with sacrifice a little bit of that, and you're not just like, oh, I only read, I only read A Song of Ice and Fire and Malazan and all that. If that's you, maybe no. But if you're reading Brandon Sanderson and Red Rising and other stuff like that, I think you should definitely check out the book.
Agreed. It's well-paced and fun. You'll like that. Maybe you'll be underwhelmed by the end, but we are typically more critical. I'd say
that is true.
So
keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind.
We're curmudgeons and we're really critical on stuff. So we're rating it a 6.8. You'll probably rate it like an 8.5.
Unless you are a true warrior like us, and you let authors on your podcast and then give their book a 6.8. I feel bad, but hey, we're gonna be honest with this, and I will say to put the cherry on top of what you said, this book is the action of what you mentioned earlier, the well pacing, and if you've read Sanderson, it's very Sanderson-esque. To me, not as good as Sanderson. But that's not hating on Brian. It's just Sanderson's my favorite.
Yeah.
So if you like him, you might like this. Does it get a thumbs up for you?
It does get a thumbs up.
Neat. Okay.
Gets 1 thumbs up.
Neat. All right. That's been the video.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.